Hello. Guess that's working. No plans on doing a live tonight. I don't know how OBS, but I think OBS got this wrong last week also. But it's supposed to be a Thursday night live. But I'm just getting home from work. Wasn't in the mood to make a video. So what the hell? I'll get on here for 30 minutes and talk nonsense. Talk around in circles. Talk about projects that don't work. Or people giving up on projects before they even close to TGE. Or somewhat close to TGE. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Oh, let's see here. Now I can show you how desperate I really am. How about that? Put my NASCAR screen on with all my projects and stuff, and hopefully everybody will go take a look. I don't even think I set up my description. This was very last minute. What's up, 619? Yeah, that's a bit much. Hey man, talking around. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a live tonight, but for some reason, OBS had it all messed up. It's supposed to be Thursday nights, but you know what? Like I said, didn't really have to do it. There's a couple things I wanted to do videos on, but when it's time for me to sit down, old age, then I can't remember what the hell I wanted to do videos on. It's crazy. Horrible day at work. Chasing ghosts in the system. Phones going out. Networks going out 15 minutes before it's time to get off of work at 4. So I was there till 6. But what you gonna do? See if I can get rid of some of this nonsense. Get rid of that. So, how's everybody else doing? B says my Canadian station will be online by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That'd be awesome. I can't wait. For those who don't know, I'm going international, and I'll finally have a Wingbits station north of the border. Hope it dresses warmly. So, try to clean some of this screen up a little bit. A little better. Grumpy's got tax bills to pay. Godfather of the 51st state. Godfather's international, man. International man of mystery. Not much mysterious about it. No, look, y'all be surprised. I hate to act like I'm shilling this code right here, but I'm telling y'all, every time I do a video on it, every time I do a short on it, every time I put it up for a little while in one of my Monday videos, somebody buys something. And right now, again, I hate to keep talking about it, but I was not prepared for these taxes. I was taking extra out of my paychecks. My wife's taking extra out of my paychecks, but everybody I'm talking to at work, friends, this year we all got hosed. I don't know what it is, but I wasn't expecting a couple of grand worth of tax bill on top of everything else going on. That was for sure. But no, we had a cool weekend. Going around the French Quarter. Not as young as I used to be, so it's much better to ride around the French Quarter, Bourbon Street, and hopefully making a little bit of crypto with it with my apps. I know we've been discussing my Discord. I'm assuming that everybody in here is in my Discord, so there's no really reason to mention that. But I guess I need to start cleaning some of this up, and I need to make a little banner that says "Go to the Discord." Or at least put it in my description. But I don't know. So what else is going on? We've been talking back and forth in the Discord, so there's nothing really new. I haven't really looked into any projects. I haven't seen what crypto itself is doing. I know Helium's big comeback has been kind of halted when I last looked at that. Bitcoin's been sideways since last week. What's new? Trying to find. How about this? Let's see. Yep. Bitcoin sideways. Been sideways since the 12th. 84, whatever. Hey, I guess down's, it's better than down. Let's look at peak. And peak, I'm just accumulating again, not financial advice, just accumulating a little bit, especially when it dips down to this 10-cent level. I bought so much of it at 40 and 50 cents that I'm buying 10 cents now strictly just to bring my average cost down, to be honest with you. Helium had a little bit of a pullback. Got excited when it hit 430. But we're still at, this is 370, 350. So Helium had a little bit of positivity back, and this was $2.30, $2.48. I'll take it right now compared to what Helium could have been down to. Oh, I would never buy Helium just because I got 17 or 8, 14, 15, 16, 17 devices collecting it. But hey, the network's still going. You know, mining might suck, but the network ain't going anywhere. I think everybody, especially with AT&T now being rewarded for the cellular and the Wi-Fi side, I still think when this is down in the ones, like the one something of $2 and something, I'd increase my bag a little bit if I didn't have all these miners already. I don't know. I thought the H&T high was it before or after that halving? I mean, but we've had another halving since then and didn't get that kind of return. I just think it was the perfect time in the peak of that bull run. And that's why I keep hoping that in the peak of this next bull run, whenever that might be, if we have a good bull run, depending on who you listen to, you know, they got people who are on this internet, YouTube and TikTok and everything else, way more negative than I am. Way more negative. That, like, you know, saying that we're never going to see an alt season, or XRP is going to suck up all the money from alts, and it's just going to be Bitcoin and XRP at the end. Delusional. Look, do I think XRP is going to go up? Absolutely. I don't want the XRP army coming after me. Am I going to sit here and talk delulu like your boy on TikTok says about XRP and going to $13 and just ignore market cap, because it's going to ignore market cap and go to $13, $15, $100? No, you're not going to hear me say that. You know, the banks can start using XRP all they want, and it ain't going to make XRP pass Ethereum and rival Bitcoin. There's only so much in crypto total market cap money that's out there. I said in the video a while back, I forget how long, a video a while back, that, you know, I watched a video where somebody talked about how as more and more of these ETFs come out, there's only so much money that can go into ETFs. And you don't see ETFs have these big increases like you did with Bitcoin and, to a point, Ethereum. But people think because there's some kind of ETFs and there's going to be a different ETF, XRP is going to jump up. You know, XRP is at $2. I got a guy at work who did not listen to me at all. About this $3 range, bought 10 grand worth of XRP. 10 grand worth of XRP because his buddies told him XRP was going to $100. And he put 10 grand in XRP. And I'm like, God, like, it must be nice to have that kind of money that you can just throw into something like that. What else? Vet. You know, I bought Vet down here during my video. I don't know. Y'all can't see it because my head's in the way. But I don't know. Some people just don't buy tokens anymore. I don't know. Let's see. Wingbits device has arrived. Kyle's Wingbits device. Well, why are you on here, brother? You should be out there installing it in the dark. They got somebody to hold a flashlight for you. I do have to say, I have to thank Axie or whoever made it happen. I did get a notification finally that I have a Wingbits device coming to me. So whoever made that happen, I appreciate it. It's going to be a, dude, I got another high fix. I told you, when I post this high fix, you know, kind of like that old movie, when somebody rings a bell, an angel gets a wing. Every time I throw my code around, I get an email from HiFix saying somebody used my code. So whoever used my code, I appreciate it. And that HiFix.ai, it don't matter what you buy. It can be a GeoNet wire, and you could use my code to get 10% off, and I get $1 from it. And right now, every little dollar helps. But yeah, somewhere on here, Wingbits shop, WB200 station is in shipment. Now, we don't know where it's coming from, but I think it's cool. And I appreciate the Wingbits people doing that for me. And I'll get to do an unboxing video, even though everybody else has unboxed theirs. But I don't care. I'm happy. I'm happy. Um, but now I'm gonna tell you, like going back to the HNT, which y'all commenting about, I'm not delusional enough to think it's going back to 55, but just with the amount of tokens I got and that are still coming in, and I'm gonna tell you, I have seen a price increase, from what I was making in IoT with 16 or 17 devices versus what I'm making now with HNT. So right now I'm making a little over 3 HNT a day with my miners, a little bit more. So with that, I'm making like $10 a day. Again, that's what I don't lie to you. I don't like to lie to y'all. I get confused on how many stations I got with different projects, but I want to say I'm up to like 15, 16 HNT devices. Again, I'm making like $3, 3 a day. That's right now 1070 a day. Where with the IoT, I was never getting more than $6 or $7 worth of IoT. I would flip that to Solana and hold Solana. Right now, because with the price helium's at, I'm keeping my helium at like this and just throwing it in my Exodus wallet and just holding it, hodling it, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just hoping, like, again, it almost went to $10 not what 2-3 months ago or whatever it was, maybe a little bit longer than that. Time flies, but I could only hope that we see. What was this? Oh, back in December, 4 months ago, it was back up here, this $8, $9, $10 range. I can only hope. $25. Give me $25. I'm not super greedy. Just $25. What else we got? Cardano, 61 cents. AVAX, 18 cents. Nadix, not too much of an increase in Nadix. Grass, Grass is a project that I'll never understand and I always get wrong. But I still think I don't understand how a project can survive paying rewards out once a year. Because that's what you're averaging really right now with Grass is once a year. Like, who thought that was a good idea? You have to go through 7 or 8 epochs. We got paid last October, I think it was, for Grass, somewhere around there. I'm staking almost all my tokens with BitHarvest, but who knows? So what else y'all got? My upgrade's doing like 70 cents a day. That's pays for cell phone bill while I run Wingbits for funds. But 619, that off grid you're doing, I'm assuming that you're not getting witnessed or when your beacons go out, you're not getting any witnesses back, right? If you're off grid, unless you got other off grid set up, but are you at least paying the cell bill? 70 times 30. I mean, was that $21 or something like that? So I guess if you're using the unlimited version of T-Mobile or whatever like that, you can get it for, what was it, $5 or $10 a month or something like that. So look at another high fix order. y'all got y'all got games. That's funny. But yep, we got the Grumpy Dad crypto. Listen, I can't tell y'all how proud I am of y'all, like a true dad, but I didn't think that this was gonna blow up like this. Um, you know, I don't know exactly how many people we got in here. 71 members now. 71 members. And not everybody has verified yet, so some people still have to go back and verify. So if you can't get in, make sure you verify. But 71 members in, what's that, like 3 days or something like that? Monday's really when we kicked it off. I'm truly humbled. Like I cannot believe that in just, until today, everybody had to fill out the little application and state why y'all are joining, and just the support that y'all, the reasons y'all gave, the support y'all gave. I think that's cool as hell. I still haven't showed my wife the little emoji yet. I think she's gonna freak out when she sees it. The little grumpy dad emoji. So I don't know. Di Vaselino made that. Somebody made that, but that was cool. I have to say that was cool. I wasn't expecting that at all. Oh, what else? So played Call of Duty last night. Played 4 matches of Warzone. Playing the casual, because the casual is basically for the older people. And hey man, came out first twice. And then another time we got in with, and one guy was by himself and just annihilated my whole team. Like it wasn't nothing. So we screwed up on that one. But it was fun. A little de-stress at the end of the day with everything going on. I've been trying to keep up with the Discord and stuff, and then along with other Discords, it's hard. Especially when you have everything crapping out at work. What else? $10 a month, making like $20 a month, and that's not GeoNet on it either. Hey, that's good. That's why I pulled my helium station down originally from Baton Rouge, is because I was paying $25 a month for rooftop internet, and I wasn't even paying the bill. And I'm like, this makes 0 sense why I would have that up there. But then I went ahead and originally put a BHS station, a Bit Harvest studio. And I'm sorry. Originally I put a Wingbits station up there on that roof. Then eventually put a Bit Harvest station. So I put the helium miner technically back on that rooftop. So in Baton Rouge, it gets a hell of a lot of witnesses and beacons and stuff like that. So I'm getting Wingbits DIY along with helium, and then also all the other lanyap, as we call it, on the Bit Harvest device. Your grass when it works, and Honeygain, pawns. What's the other one? Curecorn, stuff like that. And actually, I got that on my other Baton Rouge rooftop also now. All those with free internet. So I really wanted to put a GeoNet up on top of that one of Baton Rouge rooftops, but there's somebody already in that hex. And from what I understand with GeoNet, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you put a station where there's already a station that's been established there for a while, basically I'll get like half the rewards or something like that. I don't know. Missing, just DM me and I'll help you out over DM. But you're going to have to do a scan of your IPs and figure out what IP that device gave. So either you have to get into your router or run an IP scanner, a local IP scanner like Angry IP or something like that, to find out what that IP is. But if you DM me, I'll walk you through it before I start my Call of Duty game. What else? We only got 9 people watching, but so when I set up this live for tomorrow night, I need to make sure that OBS, because I set it all through up OBS, and OBS, I gotta make sure that they it's got the correct time and all that, which is the 17th. So I really don't have nothing else, guys. Been going through my announcements. Even like if you watch my money video, going through announcements, there's not a lot of announcements going on. Not a lot of things going on with these projects and all that. It's just not a lot of news. If y'all know some news, let me know. I'll be happy to look into it and share it with the group. But Chirp says they added support for 100 plus new devices from top manufacturers. I've said before, that's one reason why I like Chirp, is just because with Helium, they were very limited in the amount of IoT devices. And Chirp's supposed to be wide open, basically, to a lot of other devices. So I think this is a positive thing. So, and I'm glad to see that they're actually discussing their actual network, because everything that's been discussed about them has been, that they've discussed, has been the Chirp KAGE app, which I still don't understand how that benefits that project at all by going around and just scanning SSIDs. I don't know, but I'm glad to see them now actually discussing and talking about their IoT network platform, whatever you want to call it. So just need some customers on it. I think that was 619 earlier who said that in my Discord, that gotta get customers on these things. You know, let's see what else. What else? Any other announcements you'll know about? Wingbits. I'm sure everybody has gone put their wallets in their devices. I shared this in my Discord earlier. So, at least I thought I did. I might have not have. I might need to. Several clients were pushed out to add a high-fix station logging for support purposes only for Wingbits for the high-fix devices. When a client update is pushed, charts and stage page can be impacted. The middle onboarding steps panel has been updated to show a station summary and all steps have been completed. So I did see that on the Wingbits dashboard. If y'all saw that on the Wingbits dashboard, there's actually a new there's a new little segment on the Wingbits dashboard when you first come up. A little like your station's, kind of like a call to action type thing, that, you know, where mine says I have 3 stations that are offline right now. The one that I got, the one I sent to Canada, the one that I can't get into the silo that I hope they can get to soon, or I'm gonna have to move that station and host it somewhere else so I don't get in trouble for not having my devices online. And but yeah, now they got this call to action thing, if y'all haven't saw that, where it tells you that your station needs to be fixed or there's something wrong with it. So this is my Florida station. I sent him priority mail. The geosigner was supposed to be there Monday. Tracking still has it going around in circles in Florida. They need to understand how important this is so they can get it there. Can't get on top of the silo because the elevator's down. And I got one device on its way to Canada. Hey, that's the one that arrived today. So the Vaselinos arrived. Hey, hey, hey. So 619 says, I've been online. This is GeoNet for 2.5 years. Guy in the same hex set up a week before. We both get full rewards, but he had the NFT. I don't know. I don't know how that works. So yeah, so Wingbits has this new setup right here. I guess you can kind of see what kind of what's going on with that. So what else? They have let me see. Trying to delete this. All right. So what else they got? They got while it's attempting to add a host wallet had some issues, so they think they got that fixed. And 2FA prompts have been updated to call out using an authenticator app, so people don't try to link a wallet app using the QR copies in the verification code field. I haven't had any issue with the 2FA. BYOD GeoSigner's rewards cut off. BYOD stations without GeoSigner attached and working properly would no longer receive rewards, starting with tonight's rewards calculations. Fixed stations were not affected. This was generally stated for March 31st, but multiple factors required a delay. Now, see, with this, I guess y'all can't see me, huh? Look at all right. I have stations that have not received awards in 2 or 3 days. I assumed it was because of the cutoff. Which makes me need to go look at them some more. But that's Wingbits. If you're number 2 in the hex, you will get 4 awards without an NFT. Do I need an NFT? Like, what's the benefit of having said NFT? Baton Rouge has rooftops I can get on. And again, they already have, I guess I need to look at the map, huh? Now, GeoSigner has stations in Baton Rouge where I have access to rooftops. And as you can see, you got a hex right here with a device in it. But this guy doesn't have a NFT. We got one here. And this guy only has a 48% rewards. There's no staking available. I read somewhere that that's where the money's at. It's trying to get staking, but I don't know how that works. The positive of the NFT is 1 per hex. You won't lose 4 rewards even if 20 people join. Got it. Got it. But my GeoSigner shows NA for effective satellites, NA for data bytes, NA for the last 7 days, but it shows online with a last packet date. That's what's confusing. So I don't know if it's that the satellite can see it or something. I know it doesn't transmit back, but somehow it's showing last data packet date as right now, but no satellites, no data bytes. The total hours keep going up. My hourly online rate is still going up, but my token reward weight is at 0. They got something going on with it. I have to figure that out. Yeah. Tell you, I know y'all sick of hearing this broken record. I apologize to y'all, but it's just I don't know how else to say it. But I would love to get, now that I'm not getting another Chirp station because I refuse to play the game of buying this NFT for $400 more than what they sold for. And I'll still say over and over, there's no reason for them to be doing NFTs anymore, because if they actually ship devices out, excuse me, I don't think people would be screwing with NFTs and scamming them, because it'd be a lot harder to deal with. But since I'm not going to get one of those, I'd like to get a geo station. But again, if I have no place to put it at, because a lot of my sites have trees or a building around or something like that where I could put it. And I know GeoNet's very finicky. I don't really know what the takeoff is, but all my stations have, even like my Wingbit stations to a point, have, there might be a building here in one section, or there might be some trees over here in another section. GeoNet, I know it kind of wants full horizon, 360 degrees coverage. And it's hard to provide that. The building rooftops, I don't know if they would even provide it either when you think about it, because some of them got cell sectors around it and boilers and stuff like that. I don't know. But GeoNet's a cool project. Another thing I know people are talking about is, just so I can say I addressed it, you got some YouTubers that are on live talking about how they're going to dump Wingbits as soon as it comes in, and tokenomics and stuff like that. What I'm looking into, listen, I know some of y'all are going to say that no matter what Wingbits does, I'm going to take up for them. And that's not accurate, because then if y'all think that's accurate about me, y'all have been following this channel and not paying attention. Do I love Wingbits? Absolutely. Am I the most positive and bullish on that project than probably any other project I'm in right now? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie about that. But I will still critique them when I have to. They have people who are losing their minds right now over tokenomics. I don't know why these tokenomics have been out for a month now, maybe, if not longer. But yesterday there was all of a sudden this big push because certain YouTubers and certain people on live, different people on live, complaining about the tokenomics, that only 40 something percent was going to the miners, and 24 point something percent was going to the team, and the other 24% was going to investors and stuff like that. And I can understand on the surface how that kind of looks, but looking at some more recent projects, it's kind of the split that's been going around. I know they had a professional tokenomics type of person come in and kind of spell all this out and figure this stuff out and ran these algorithms and stuff like that. Look, would I want 70% going to miners? Of course, who wouldn't? But it's also a project. This team ain't working for free. They got to get paid back at some point. I am a little cringy when I start seeing all these different projects like Silencio and all these ones, like every other day coming out with some new announcement that they're got all these new investments in seed funding and all stuff like that. Because as I'm learning as I go with crypto, I mean, you didn't see a lot of that in the beginning. Maybe I wasn't in enough projects, but one thing I've noticed is that you start seeing all stuff about seed funding and all this stuff. Is in the back end, they're also getting a hold of more of those tokens. I don't know what the lock period is. I didn't go look into the exact tokenomics of lock period, but again, we all love GeoNet. And I shared in my Discord yesterday, everybody's losing their mind over Wingbits and what they're doing with tokenomics. And basically it's a mirror of what GeoNet did. And nobody's losing their mind over that. And we don't know what the Wingbits tokens is going to be worth. And if you have a good setup and you're making 24 tokens per hex or whatever it might be, it's going from a 40-something% to 50% like some people want, or whatever, for the helium, for the miners. Is that really going to make that much difference? I don't know. I just know I'm not losing my mind over it, because I have people contact me and asking me, and I'm like, I raised this question early in my Discord. Nobody answered it, but I asked, hey, in the last year or two, please tell me one project that people are like, man, that's awesome tokenomics. And when it went TGE and started rewarding, everybody was happy, because you can't. Now, that could be because of the bull run or anything like that, but I know the projects that we discuss, and that most of y'all bring up, none of it's been sustainable. You have people who loved Hive Mapper. Is 619. Tell us how that's going, because he could tell you. He's getting his device next week. His B. You look at Demo, and you look at, I don't know, a lot of these Nadix, Soarchain, Silencio. Nobody's happy with any of these things. So I've said over and over and over and over that no matter what Wingbits pays, I don't care what it is, you're going to have 25% of the people out there with pitchforks, flaming pitchforks, talking about how the project screwed them. They devoted all this time into it and the sweat and spent all this money on devices and can't feed their family now for a week because of all the money they spent for pennies a day. It's coming. It always comes. And with every project. And even though you can sit here and say 1,000 times, don't spend money you can't afford to lose tomorrow. Nothing's guaranteed. No returns guaranteed. Of all projects we know Wingbits, if you try talking anything about possible token prices, they will shut that stuff down in a heartbeat. So Bitcoin has great tokenomics. I bet they got a bunch of miners out there that would argue with that. If I had miners right now still hooked up, my ASIC miners from years ago, I wouldn't tell you that. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are happy with the rewards they're getting from projects. I don't know. Asala, I'm not saying I don't disagree with you, but that's what you've heard from several different YouTube lives. And I've even argued with Joe and some of these other ones on there that you can't sit here and say that why would anybody buy Wingbits when they're getting blank company for free? And I'll argue all day, they're not getting blank something for free. Now, for me, if I go right now to FlightAware, to the FlightAware app, because I've had FlightAware on my phone since I used to drive for Uber and Lyft years ago, because depending on watching the amount of flights coming in, you knew if you should go hang out the airport, because the airport fares paid triple of what everything else in New Orleans paid. But for me to be able to look at FlightAware, it's free. But if I owned a company who wanted that data or API or whatever you want to call it from FlightAware, I paid for that. And a lot of customers paid for that. So basically what Wingbits has to do is just be competitive enough to be able to sell to those customers. They have already announced that they got 3 different customers. One, they announced a customer back a couple of AMAs ago. So they have customers paying. Is it substantial? I don't know. Hey, Helium told us the same thing. I who am I to say? But they're trying to say that they're offering, whether it's the kind of messages they're receiving, but they explained this before in the AMA, that the data that they are providing to their customers, Wingbits, is a different level, different saturation, different this, different that. I can't tell you exactly the terms of it and stuff like that, but there's just a different level. I will tell you though, you look at FlightAware's map, they have a lot of stations. Because I know there's a lot of stations down here. Because I had to deal with FlightAware because one of my hosts, I told you before, insisted that, so he didn't get in trouble with his whatever, he wanted me to do a dual station, which was pain in the butt because now I'm burning two pies over there because I didn't want to try to put FlightAware on the same device as Wingbits. And it's a very, very good station I got, but I had to go put a Y adapter to go on one antenna, which hurt my Wingbits awards. But guess what? When you have a friend that wants to give you a spot on a building and you don't even have to pay him for it, you do what the hell he says. It's either that or nothing. But trying to find. Either y'all want to complain about some Wingbits. Look at his coverage. There again, these people are, maybe they're hobbyists. I don't know, but these people right here are, you know, providing coverage for free, not getting paid for it. Wingbits just feels that, hey, maybe we need to pay some people, but you know, that's a. But I still say the same thing is it. And look, FlightAware don't care because they don't have to pay nobody. But what's this one little dot right here going to provide that this little dot right here is not providing? It just gets crazy. Look at Houston. But you got stations off the shore too, whether or not you want to say that. Like, I know Ed Moore. Ed Moore is a ham guy. Ed Moore don't own an island. And I don't think Ed Moore's putting these on all platforms. Unless he's got somebody put them out there. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sitting there looking at the map, and I'm not even showing y'all the map. You know, this is FlightAware. I'm sorry. I have to repeat all this. Now I can repeat all of it. But my point I was just saying is you look at the saturation here, and they got some saturated spots. You know, it's crazy. But like I was saying is you look at these stations, and again, this is FlightAware, so who cares because it's all free, you know. But you want to talk about saturated spots. Look at that. I mean, but like I said, FlightAware is free. Listen, I've had the app for a while. I knew that, but FlightAware, if there's customers that want this data, customers have to pay for that. They're not getting it for free. Wingbits just has to make that competitive. That's not up to me. I know Wingbits is going to be taking some of that money and that they're making, and there's part of it that has to be put into liquidity or buy the token or whatever they're going to do, burn the token. That was one of the first questions I asked them in one of the first AMAs. Um, Fry, I've called out Fry since day one. You know, they're not even established yet, but yet they got their hands in literally like 10 different projects, 10 different things, air mining and dirt and soil and satellite and weather and like so much stuff. And I knew that that was just going to be an issue. Again, every now and then I get somebody in my life who tells me how great Fry's been to them and they're making umpteenth dollars a day. But majority of people got screwed in that project, bought devices, never received devices, never ROI'd in devices. You were told about being able to verify, and then they wanted all this hoops and all this stuff to get verified. Fry is something that I quit covering a long time ago. Ontario Miner says that Hive Mapper has been good to him, paid for itself, but the rest is profit. But what are you doing now with it? And that's what the point I'm getting at is a lot of these projects you can you get actually good stuff in the beginning, but does it last? And that's what I'm talking about. But 619, aren't you still waiting for bees? Yeah, I said Hot Mac was good at the beginning. I canceled my bee order. I saw that writing on the wall, but swap it all Solana. Still say my claim to fame, other than me buying a helium miner for $5,000 back in 2021, whatever it was, and ROIing in 17 days. Other than that, my claim to fame also was that I was telling people to buy Solana at $8 and $10, getting roasted online for telling people that in these helium forums and stuff like that. And look at me now. I'm still poor. I got all my Solana staked away. I do that purposely just so I can't go sell it in times like this when I really need $2,000, a little bit more than $2,000 for taxes. I'm telling y'all, you know, I kept telling all y'all in all my videos and all my lives that I've never sold any of my tokens for any projects to this point. Even, you know, Nadix and all these other ones, I've never sold it. You might not be hearing me say that much because, you know, we had plans for my son, follow us to do stuff for he's be senior, graduating high school, and I can't break his heart. Like, he chose, instead of going with his friends to some crazy senior trip, he wanted to do something with the family. And he picked a place none of us ever been to before. He's a good kid with a good heart. And how do I tell him that? Like, I'm cracking up. I mean, I'm breaking up right now thinking about it. How do you tell him that? Yeah, Uncle Sam screwed us and can't go on a trip. I can't do that. So if I have to dip into some crypto and I'm selling it at the wrong time because it's on the bottom, you do what you do. And it is what it is. And if people are going to start roasting me because, yeah, he told us to get into XYZ project and he went sold, that's why I do that stupid disclaimer that scrolls in my videos and scrolls at the beginning of this video. I'm going to sell it when I have to sell it. And it might not be the most opportune time and it might not be the top of the bull market, but I'll do what I got to do. That's what being dad's about. Again, I'm pushing my side business and I'm working overtime at work. That's why I didn't get home until late today. But I do what I gotta do, and I don't give a stuff if you get my drift. It is what it is. Dads do what they gotta do. I can't work any more jobs. That's I'll be straight bald by the time that's done. It is what it is. Yep. I have to. And you know, it's just funny how you know, YouTubers get called out for this because people see some things in their lives that they don't understand. But 2 weeks ago, I would have said, you ain't gonna see me sell none of these tokens. Nothing. Not for any projects, not any of this other tokens I've been buying and DCAing and stuff like that. I'm not selling that stuff until we do better in the market and whatever. 2 weeks later, I'm like, okay, so if I sell this token, how much of a loss actually is it? And I'm going through some of these tokens because I'm like, dang, you know, Hey, I'll tell you right now. I joked in the Entropy Discord that if I sold my Entropy out of one wallet right now, I could pay that IRS bill. But I'd also be G to delete it, and I don't want that. And I don't want to crash their price because I've been sitting here, I'm the one sitting here telling everybody don't be selling, follow the second law. And how would it look if I sold? It would be bad. I wouldn't want to wreck it like that. So I don't know. Don't know. Guess I got to start washing cars and stuff on the side. What does FlightAware charge? I have no idea what FlightAware charges. No idea. You know, I guess it matters what company is looking for whatever data that they want from FlightAware. You know, I remember one time Robin from Wingbits says there's more of a demand for what happens 10,000 feet and below than there is for 10,000 feet and above. You have different companies, whether it's United, whether it's Boeing, whether it's some of these different travel companies, something like that. They want to know how long is a flight waiting on the tarmac? How long does it wait from when they land? Are they delayed getting to, I guess like for traffic control, how long does it take for them they land? But there's been times where I landed and had to wait 10 or 15 minutes just to go to the gate to get off the thing. They're looking for some of that data. And again, some of the low flights data. I don't know what FlightAware is looking for. How many satellites does FlightAware have? None. And that's what Robin has tried to explain. And I feel like I'm doing a disservice trying to explain it because while I write some of this stuff down and I did videos on it after some AMAs, I missed the AMA that was today that they had. I think it was them had that big thing today. I had full plans to do that. That was at 2 p.m. Central my time today. I had full plans to make that, but my network started going down and phones and stuff like that. But that's what he was trying to explain is that Wingbits has a different data, even though it's all 1090, you know, ADSB or whatever. There's something that we are providing that FlightAware doesn't provide. You know, where I don't know, maybe FlightAware is only doing location and that's it. And some of the message that we're interpreting might be more than that. I don't know. You know, that's a question for them. But I know that we're offering something, or Wingbits is offering something that FlightAware and these other, you know, Radar Box or ADSB Exchange or whatever these other programs are not providing. And that would be a question for them. I don't know. Let us know this. Let's know the ceiling at least for Wingbits overall. Lets us know what's the ceiling. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. And you know, I try not to panic about stuff. There's just yesterday on Twitter. There was just some downright nonsense going on about Wingbits and people making comments. But you also find that it's majority of these people who are not in this project at all. They're not following the updates. They don't know what this team's doing, how hard this team's working, what their Discord's like, anything. People just saw an image of a tokenomics and just attacked them from there. And like I said, I still don't see, after all these years, I bring this up all the time like a broken record. Helium, they never stopped when it was IoT. And I want to make sure people know that. And I verified this. You can Google this or get into the tokenomics. This is still correct because it was updated after Solana merge. Wingbits had another halving last August. Previous to that last August, I believe it was August, they were paying their investors 750,000 HNT a month. A month. Do the math on that. Before that halving, the one that we were talking about earlier, that was 2-3 years ago, they were paying Let me get my trusted calculator out to make sure I don't get this wrong. They were paying 1.5 million HNT a month. So at $3, that's $4.5 million they're paying back to investors. And nobody complained. Nobody complained. You don't see nobody now complaining about it. So let's just say for the last 2 years, they've been making 750,000 HNT. And at one point, let's just take an average. HNT was up to 40, 50 bucks, down to $2, $3. So let's just say 10. So, you're looking at, 750,000 tokens times, $5, $6, $7 a piece every month. And nobody says nothing about that to this day. While we sitting here scrapping along for 31 cents a miner. That's my biggest overall issue. If anybody came and interviewed me and say, what's your biggest issue with helium? Is that I make 31 cents a day. Yes, they got people gaming, but this pisses me off more than what the gaming people do. 750,000 times 10. $10 a token is $7.5 million. So just to piss y'all off the more, 750,000 in a token at one point was worth $55. It wasn't there long. So let's just say $40 times 40, $30 million worth of H&T a month. And we making 30, 40 cents. And yet people gonna complain about Wingbits wants to give 25% to shareholders or whatever it is, or investors. That's crazy. I'm telling you, helium was great. I screwed up helium. Helium was great. I made $5,000 in 17 days was deployed. And what happened? We went and bought, me and my two buddies, because we went in together on that $5,000 monitor, because I didn't have it at the time. And we went and bought 20-something new stations, sense caps, and anything else we can get our hands on at the time. Synchro bits, MNTD golds. Oh, we bought some MNT golds too. And don't get me wrong, I still tell everybody, H&T helium saved my family during Hurricane Ida. Not search and rescue, helium. Because if you can imagine, I know I'm repeating myself and I've said this story before, but if you could imagine, y'all had to, in 2 days from now, evacuate your house for a week to a hotel. No food, you packed your clothes, and just left on vacation, 3 people like that. Because I had to stay for work. I wasn't going nowhere. I didn't have that money. My wife's a teacher. Y'all know what I do back then at that time. I didn't have that kind of money. So guess what? They had to go stay in a hotel. And the cheap hotels are booked up because other people, you have people who book up hotels in North Louisiana and stuff like that, beginning of hurricane season. If there's any inkling of a hurricane in the Gulf, they're booking hotel rooms up early. Helium bailed my family out. Thousands of dollars that it cost us to evacuate, stay in a hotel, feed my family, feed my son. I'm still partial to helium, as if they're some kind of person, but I'm still partial to helium, because if it wasn't for me discovering that, I don't know what the hell would have happened. That and my Ethereum mining with my GPUs, 1080 GPUs, that too, but still. But again, my whole point is our rewards went down to chit with helium. To what was it now? 30 cents a day. I'm making 3 H&T a day out of 16, 17 miners. But don't worry. First of the month or end of the month or whatever it is, let's look at helium. $1.25 million at the end of the month. Whatever you want to call it. You're right. And that's why I've always said I hope Chirp and some of these other projects will learn off of helium, sustain off helium. Helium allowing 900,000 miners. I'll never forget when we first put our station out, again, I think it was 2020, 2021. Excuse me. We got so excited in New Orleans as we would see. My buddy had a business downtown, building top. He owned the building. We put the helium on top of there, and it was high enough that it would catch devices that were miles and miles away. And we'd see a fifth station, sixth station, and watch the reward. Again, we made $5,000 up in 17 days. And back then, the token was worth no more than like $7 or $8 a piece. It might have been like $3 or $4 when we first started. It went up fast, $7, $8 a piece. And we just kept seeing these stations. Then eventually a station would come in our hex, and I'm like, what the hell, man? All these open hexes around New Orleans, why would you come stick that thing in our hex? By the time we were done, we had like 9 in our hex. 9 in all Louisiana. I mean, in all of New Orleans. Then you'll get even more rewards lost because the overall hex with the 7 or 8 hexes inside had too many total stations, like as if we could control that. You know, and then eventually, went to mess, and then having happened, and next thing you know, the price went down to nothing, and you were getting hardly anything. And I'll still say that price fell down awfully quick. Rewards went down. We went from 15 to 16 tokens a day with one device to a partial HNT, and it happened way too fast. But nobody questioned anything. Still gets $40 a week each camera drive full time. So, hey man, maybe we all went wrong canceling our Hive mapper that was supposed to arrive last December, or B. Maybe I was wrong for that. I don't know. No. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed this last minute live. Maybe I need to do more of these. Hopefully, I can do these a little more consistent. I kind of like the lives just because we get to chit chat for a while. Hey, I don't care if it's only 14, 15 people. People coming back and watch these things after. It's cool. And, I don't have to sit here and figure out what I'm going to do a video about, and if I'm going to make the video too long and too boring for y'all, stuff like that. As I get older and tired, I can't remember nothing at the end of the day. On my way to work every morning at 7:30, 8 a.m., I think about, I need to do a video on this. And by the time I get home and I'm sitting on this computer and I'm catching up on Discord and chit-chat with y'all, I'm like, what was I going to do a video on? Because I never write it down. I never put it in my notes. I'm like, I ain't going to do that. I can't make up anything for a video. And then on my way to work tomorrow, I'll come up with another, deal. I don't know. I got to catch up on some other projects. I see y'all talking about a lot of projects in my Discord, and that's cool because I'd like to look into some of them. I know a lot of y'all keep talking about ore. Can I do ore from an old computer? Because I have stacks. Y'all know I got stacks of these old Lenovo's in here with i5 and some i7 processors. And right now I got stacks of them running on Grass, which I'm glad because that's the only thing Grass is really running on right now. Grass, and then Honeygain and Pawns and Curecoin. So I got 4 or 5 of these old Lenovo Tinys that I've gotten through different means, people throwing them away and stuff like that. I got a buddy at work who had an office with crap loads of them, and he slowly has swapped them out every so many years. He'll swap them out for the new Dell Tinys that a little bit about the same size, and they work good. They work good. I gotta say that. My son put an emulator on one, and so he put Xbox stickers on it, but I put an emulator on it, and so I can run old Tecmo, Nintendo type things and stuff like that, and they run, dude. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, they run. They got i7. This is a i5 Pro Core i5, whatever. But they run. They run, and look, you could even. I run Windows 10 on these. I get Windows 10 online, and Windows 10 are running these things, even though they were made in 2013, I think 2014. So if I could run, manufacturer, this is 2014, 2014. It's 12 years old. If I can run or something like that, but 23 Panthers in my area. 2 of my ex stealing my rewards. While I got is Asala here, he might know this question. I had somebody offering me a, let's see. That's what I was supposed to be doing a video on. Cavity filters versus the purple LNA things from the little LNA in the filter combos and stuff like that from AliExpress versus the real cavity filters and versus a regular black SDR versus a AirSpy Mini versus the green and blue SDRs. And I'm supposed to be working on that video. But let me see. I got a guy who wants to sell me a find messages. Where's the kids at when I need them? Oh, up here on top. A Finestra miner. There's a Finestra miner, have a Pi, because it looks kind of like a Syncrobit. So can I put, because none of these things run anymore. So I can put like either Nebra or BHS on it. And it's a very, very good price on a Finestra. Never mess with Finestra on helium. Do those have Pis in them, or are they kind of like a Bobcat or something like that? I got Bobcat working with Nebra. I got a hold of 3 of them, and while he won't go to BHS, and it's a little difficult for some people to put them on crank, but with a with that Nebra firmware that just runs helium or whatever, and you can stick it on a SD card and throw that in the Bobcat. It works. So I don't know about Finestra. Blue saw. You talking about the regular blue saw filter? Actually, I ran that in my testing also. I hate to say it, but I had a handful, all of my. I hate to say it, but when I first got to the ADS-B thing from Helium, I was getting into D-Fly, and then those just merged over to Wingbits. But my D-Fly first, I didn't know better. I was buying those black SDRs, and then I spent some money, swapped them all out for the greens when I found out, excuse me, how great the greens were, until I found out they couldn't handle static charges. But anyway, I had a stack of these black ones, 10 or 12 of them. I was giving them away during my lives and some of my videos when I turned into 25,000 subscribers or 20,000 subscribers, whatever it was. And I gave them away. Kind of wishing I didn't at this point, because those make some great ham radio receivers, shortwave. They're very wideband. Some VHF, that's how I got started with them. Some VHF, especially marine locates and locations or whatever it's called, for the Marines and the VHF, stuff like that, because they're so wideband with the metal casing. I'm just going to give you all a hint for that video. Kind of wish I wouldn't have gave it away. So I guess I need to get that video and tell y'all what's up. The cavity to the blue salt. I still think the cavity is gonna be better. Let me tell you. I'll give y'all this hint. I'll give y'all this hint. The blue cavity for noise beats anything. However, for $7.98, you can get the the filter off Alley, where the cavity filter, I don't want to lie to y'all, is $67. So yes, while this cavity filter is, I don't know why my stuff showing up in Canadian, but I'm not in Canada yet. But this one, this is a true cavity filter, and a cavity filter is going to be a saw filter any day of the week. But again, what I've tried to tell people, this is why I've hesitated to do videos until now, is that, you know, who farted might be able to do a cavity filter with an AirSpy Mini and see a huge difference. I saw an increase when I put mine together. Jay Styles might do one and not see hardly any increase. And he's going to think this was the biggest waste of money. It ain't automatic like when everybody went from the black SDRs years ago to a green or blue, and everybody saw this huge increase and it made it worthwhile. Depending on how many obstructions you got, if you ain't getting a lot of planes as it is, and more messages than your device can handle, there's really no reason to spend the money, $200 on an AirSpy Mini and a cavity filter. Something else that I read in one of the Flight Aware forums, and I know I pushed a lot of little potatoes and sweet potatoes and stuff like that out to people, but this is a fact. There's another hint for my video that I'm gonna tell y'all. A Pi 4 gets way more messages than a little potato or some of these other devices. A Pi 3 or Pi 2. I got a buddy who's using a Pi 2. So anybody tells you can't use a Pi 2 don't know what they're talking about. My buddy Jason in South Louisiana has a Pi 2 running, and it runs. They got people on here swear they can't do it. I'm doing it. Like, I set it up for him. He just put it online at his house, and I said, all right, hold on. And I set up his device. It's on his dashboard. It's his device. And he's also the guy that has a 12 dBi. When these people want to complain to me about that, we were going back and forth today about the image with the dBi gain. We've all seen it with helium. And 12 dBi is going to get you this much further out. You want to know why I know the 12 dBi don't work? Because my stations get over double than his, and his antenna's higher than what some of mine are. But I'm telling you, I don't try to argue with y'all, and maybe not y'all here, but even in these things where people are like, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. This device and this SDR is just better than this one. I don't care what the paperwork says. I go off of real life, and people forget I've been in this ADS-B thing for years now. I did all this testing, and I did real world testing. I would put this antenna out for a while, then put this antenna out for a while and compare them and these SDRs, and they can say what they want. And for some people, even in here, tell me that it wasn't the same for them. But I can tell you for me, that green, cheap plastic SDR outperformed, other than the AirSpy Mini, outperformed every SDR I've ever put it under. Half my stations, 14 stations plus the 5 or 6 for my friends that I'm holding, over half of them still have green SDRs. As they failed, they're being replaced by blue, and I'm still getting one fail in like every other month. When there's bad lightning storms, they can't handle ESD and static discharges, but when they run, they outperform all of them except the AirSpy Mini. But again, I'm not going to replace them every 2 months. So I got to buy a blue one. Or do I? Stay tuned for that video. Oh, for next year, mine has an RPI. So I need to try to grab a hold of that one. So like what I did is I've kind of repurpose, especially like when it was time to do geosonars, like my better stations that I really wanted to max out the most messages and most airplanes might have had love potatoes or sweet potatoes. I've taken them off and putting a, maybe one time it was a sense cap or something, and putting that device there. And you watch those aircraft kind of go up a little bit, 10, 20 aircraft, but the messages went up 300 or 400 fold, 300, 400. And then I would take the lip potatoes and put the lip potatoes back. But at one time when I started with Deep Fly, 4 or 5 of my stations were these, putting Ubuntu or Debian on it and just running this. And that's one thing, that might be one thing I need to do, is I've never ran Wingbits on one of these and compared it to what an RPI, Raspberry Pi, or Lip Potato will do as far as aircraft and messages. No, I ain't got no time for that. But I am curious to know what the processing power of this is. What would it compare it to? Inquiring minds want to know. So, all right, I gotta go. It's Call of Duty time, 9 o'clock. Hey, I spent the hour and a half with y'all. It was cool. It was fun. It was last minute. I appreciate everybody who came by. Make sure you hit the like button, show some love. Maybe, I'll win the lottery or something like that, and y'all don't have to hear about me and taxes anymore. And I'll be back tomorrow night. I'm gonna still keep my Thursday live to keep the algorithm right, and make sure I set it up the right way first. It's got the right date and time on it. I'm really gonna think it's Thursday now. But hey, tomorrow is my Friday because we're off of work Friday for the holiday. Saturday, Sunday. Again, if you're not religious, I'm sorry, but we still pray for you. But my family's religious, and happy Easter to those who are. And we'll be in church Sunday, despite taxes. We're healthy. I ain't had no heart issues lately, even though some of these crypto projects might get me there, or the IRS might get me there. But hey, my family's healthy. My son's graduating from high school next month. I'm trying not to choke up right now. My daughter's softball team's in the playoffs again. Maybe go to state champs again. I'm blessed. And I got all y'all as new friends. I thank y'all. I'm trying not to. Let me take a sip of my bourbon. I thank all y'all for the support. It's very humbling to see this Discord grow, and I hope that we can make it. When you go in some of these Discords like Wingbits, you can't talk about other projects. You go into Entropy Discord, you don't want to talk about other projects. This is a way we can all BS. There's no rules as far as talk about other projects and stuff like that. And I hope we can all get together and share some projects, get some projects from each other. Y'all got me intrigued in Ore now. Y'all got me intrigued in now getting this Finestrum on it. And I thank all y'all for that. And I appreciate it. So let me go let me go kill some things in Call of Duty and get my manhood back. Look, I appreciate it, seriously. Happy Easter to all y'all. If y'all can't make my thing tomorrow night, I pray for everybody. And that we all that we all have a good bull market, and we all successful in all of our projects. And I hope everybody's healthy, and it's all that matters. Thank y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video tomorrow night.